theatre, film, TV and more. Suzy Rong reviews it all on Joy Drive.
Hello, Suzy Rong.
Hello, Warren. Are you any good at dealing with life's curveballs?
Oh, throw them at me. They're always hitting me. You know, I'm one of those people that walks past a sports field. Literally, the ball, if they kick it, will come and hit me in the head. I can be on the... It always happens. You don't come near me. I'll have to throw it back. I'll have to kick it back. I don't know how to kick it. And bang, it hits me in the head every time. No, I do.
What are you doing stalking sports places?
No, I'm not. I run away from them. But like if you go past somewhere where they're playing, the ball will hit Warren. It's like a magnet. It's like my biggest
And have you
fear.
learned your lesson?
No, and you know, like I've learnt it even now. If I go to a dog park and I take Lucas to a dog park, and you know how some dogs they play with balls and then they just drop them, and then the owner looks as though, "Hey mate, can you throw it back?" Oh my goodness, no. I can't throw. I can't do it. I can't throw it. Luckily, Lucas steals other dogs' balls. I can just go, Lucas, grab it quick before I have to throw it. How about you, Suzy? What do you like with curveballs?
Look, I think I've become very good at protecting myself from unexpected things. I think, it's probably only natural that when you're young, you kind of don't know the nature of life. You don't know how surprises can happen, good and bad. And I think I've been good at learning every lesson, and the older I get, the better I am at protecting myself from things like that. And and also, I think my temperament is better with it. Except last week, I fell ill. Caught a cold, which is never something that you can really protect yourself from, much as you take all the vitamins and everything. So it has been a bit of a curveball to kind of remind you that you're a bit of a human being.
But don't you think, I suppose I'm speaking generally, but for people in our community, that we're kind of always expecting curveballs, aren't we, right from kids? And I reckon there's a resilience in us. It's like, you know what, yes, maybe we can handle it, but maybe we don't realise that we do have that capacity to handle it at times, because often there's so many, they come one after the other. But I reckon as a community, there's a huge resilience there that we're not necessarily aware of, because there's some big curveballs always coming towards the LGBTIQ plus community, always. And if we look at history, which we've spoken about before as well, Suzy, there's big ones. And I don't know, I reckon we're a resilient bunch and we should be proud of that.
Yeah, we're very resilient. We have a good sense of humour, and we can't afford to be naive, can we?
No, exactly. I mean, as long as we don't turn it into a heightened anxiety, but I reckon we can accept that we are a resilient lot, and good, and that's an asset that we should have. And we've got Suzy Rong as well on the radio, and we're talking about something called KIT, which is on YouTube. Tell us about it, Suzy.
In many ways, Kit Jackson is just a regular Aussie guy who works an uninspiring office job trying to get through the day. When he falls pregnant, however, his life is forced to go through a series of challenges as he navigates health and social systems that are not made for trans people. The new web series, KIT, is streaming on YouTube. It comprises 6 short episodes, clocking in at less than 16 minutes in total. It is made from the lowest of budgets by creatives who don't have extensive resumes in filmmaking, but there is no question the importance of telling a story like KIT's. I have seen stories about trans men having babies in a couple of documentaries, but this is a first for me to see a dramatization of that experience. Lead actor Chris McAllister makes everything look natural and, dare I say, normal in their portrayal of a working class man being with child. Certainly, there are many people in the show encountering KIT who react poorly to a trans guy being pregnant, but the series does a marvelous job of making us see the common sense of something that will likely be occurring more frequently as people continue to come out and as society becomes more understanding of trans lives. As queer people, we benefit from seeing ourselves in healthy and nurturing situations in content like this one. Kit has a loving partner, an accepting parent, a strong group of friends, and is now embarking on the formation of his own family. This may all look somewhat pedestrian now, but back in my day, none of this was even remotely imaginable. I remember an Arnold Schwarzenegger film from 1994, a little more than 30 years ago, named Junior, in which he played a research geneticist inventing weird drugs that allowed men to get pregnant. Today, we understand that men getting pregnant is possible without any far-fetched science fiction conceit. We simply have to let people be who they are and let nature take its course. Warren, what did you think of it?
Suzy, I just have to say, I love the way you say we just simply have to let people be who they are. That's so powerful. That's all we need to do, isn't it?
Isn't it weird? It's such an obvious statement.
So, yeah.
And how the whole world just can't deal with that.
It's so simple. Just let people be who they are. I love it. That's everything's solved now. Suzy. Seriously, you caught me when you said that. Look, it was low budget. There's no question about it being low budget series. We're talking about Kit, which you can get on YouTube. And it sort of made me a little bit sad that it's low budget, because I feel like it's a story that should be given a big budget to be told. Do you know what I mean? I felt like there was some symbolism in it being filmed as a low budget film. I feel like it just shows that we don't necessarily hear or see all of the stories that people need to tell and what people's lives can be like. It's sort of like if you fit a norm or you fit a certain type or what have you, you get the big budgets. If you are the stereotypical, gay couple, you might get a big budget, or you might get a gay character in a show. But I feel like this is a story. Why couldn't it be a film? Like it's in the cinema. It's a good story to tell, and there was a lot in it. One of the things the show touches on is how even those closest to you, and I think we can all experience this, it might be friends, it might be lovers, it might be your family, when you need them, but they might not know how to show up all the time. And it made me think about times for me when, I've had to carry something big. We've all had to carry things that are big. And even the people that you've loved just don't get it around you. And when that happens, the loneliness can be, I suppose, sharper than the thing that's happening itself. And we saw a few of those characters in this as well, Suzy, didn't we?
Yeah, that's interesting. You use the word loneliness to describe that kind of reaction to being disappointed. Had to be disappointed by people who should be supporting you. I don't think that word applies very much to me. I think obviously it's true. It's just that the way we deal with it can be such they're usually happening in moments of trauma and a lot of frenzy. So to me, it doesn't feel so much like loneliness. I know in dealing with those situations when, parents or friends let you down, I remember just feeling super energized. I don't know what it is. It's like a fear response. I felt, I remember being super energized and becoming really resourceful, in dealing with difficult situations. I think you see it in Kit. Like, he doesn't mope around.
No.
because one of the parental figures was very, very disappointing. And they simply survive, don't they? That's what I guess that's what we have to do. When it's such a big thing, you are always put in a sink or swim situation. So there is no time to let yourself sink. You just have to fight for your life.
And the other thing is too, I suppose that there's a flip side too. Sometimes people do surprise you as well, don't they? When, they turn up. I'm thinking of, and this isn't comparable to Kit's experience, but I'm just thinking off the top of my head when I lost my dog Fuzzy last year. And that was one of the most upsetting things I've ever gone through. And some people sort of didn't know how to handle it. But all these people popped out of the woodwork who had dogs. And it sort of, it reignited my faith in humanity. I had people who I hadn't even met before saying, hey, we know as a dog owner, we know exactly what's happened. And I feel like you mentioned then in terms of it's reinvigorating, it's sort of a bit like a cleansing exercise, isn't it? Because you realise, okay, now I know now what sort of relationship I might have with person X and person Y, and you sort of recategorise your friends. I don't know if you do that, Suzy, but it's something that, you know, that's one thing that I tend to do. I find, okay, well, I'm not saying these people aren't good friends, but which ones am I really close to? Which ones can I really rely on when times get tough, and they can also rely on me, and therefore I'm going to invest in these people. I find it a good opportunity to do that, a bit like a spring clean.
It's really interesting in kids. You know how the episodes are so tiny, and you get to the end of the story quite quickly. And when I was preparing my review, I was trying to write it up. I had to think, what happened to their job? What happened to his job? Like, he had a job at the start, and then I had to go back to find out what happened. And turned out he left the job because it was an unsafe environment, which they handled in quite a surprisingly subtle way. I guess there wasn't enough time to create a lot of drama there. If you've only got 60 minutes, you can't resolve that. But what happened was kids moved from an unsafe work environment to that beautiful scene where his partner organized this sort of baby shower. Yeah, it's called a baby shower. Yeah, and they had their community with them, and that was great to see other trans mask people who were supporting each other.
And it's also, I mean, for many of us, I suppose, pregnancy it's one of the most gendered ideas out there, isn't it? And there's something powerful, Suzy, about seeing that play out in a raw, emotional way. And, you know, for people who've never seen it before, it can be eye-opening but also healing to say, you know what, this is a human who's going through pregnancy. And
I love that they were showing a pregnancy story without a lot of pink flowers, exactly. And a lot of like soft feminine things. It was, you know, it's a really cheap looking show, you know, let's face it.
It is.
It's but so much of it is so unusual. So much of it feels so new, but at the same time, it all just like feels so natural and just makes common sense. And I think hopefully, it finds a bigger, audience. You know, I feel like when a show is made with little money, not a lot of people see it. And, you know, we can always remember Kit as the first one. I think it's the first one to do a story like this. And I don't think there's any question that stories of this nature are going to go to develop into bigger scale, like a more kind of conventional movie. I'm sure is going to happen any moment.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, if we hadn't had you on Drive, I would not have seen this, Suzy. I wouldn't have come across it. So, you know, I'm just, the reason I'm saying, you know, things need more budget is because it might get more exposure, and the more people hear people's stories, the better we are, the more open we are. And something else, Suzy, there's also, when we talk about explaining things, there's a feeling of shame, sometimes confusion or pressure to always explain things in life to those who don't understand. But there's also something liberating about seeing someone just be in their body. You know what I mean? Even when that body is changing and the world doesn't understand, but why should they have to go and explain just to make everyone else comfortable?
Yeah.
No,
that's
others go get comfortable.
That's the price of being. Yeah, that's the price of living authentically. For a lot of trans people, that's a hard part. It's not just that you might get people reacting in ways that are very difficult, but also that labor of constantly being put in a position where you are likely to encounter people who are going to be very confused or you know, who don't know how to react to you. That's a really kind of exhausting part of being trans. But then, you know, when people make stories like that, put them on YouTube or on on any kind of platform, TikTok or any kind of podcast. And it's a way of educating more people. Like, I think even queer audiences, I felt like this one, because it's quite an unusual story, that it kind of makes us think a bit more about who we are as a community and expand our ideas about how we treat one another and how, in this case of Kit, I think it also paints a very nice picture of masculinity. I feel like it's sort of like a modern masculinity. I like it a lot.
And Suzy, just to finish off, I want to say it's better to be curious about people. I always say it, curious. I love that word. I think it's so important. And rather than close-minded, concrete in your thoughts and having to let others explain because they feel uncomfortable around you as a result of you being very rigid in your thoughts. Like, be open. That's life. Be curious. Learn. Enjoy life. Be open to different people. Find out about them. It's
and I will never understand why some people just can't let other people be. It's just the biggest mystery, and it's something that you and I have dealt with for all our lives. But these people still exist. We don't know why.
Suzy, before we end, SMS has just come in. Does Suzy take requests? I can tell you by the implements on her wall, or in your old apartment. Yes, you do. No, it just says, I just watched 2 great shows. A Thai show. You got that, didn't you, Suzy? I just watched a Thai show called Reverse for You and a Japanese show called Love is a Poison, both on Netflix. Sorry if she's already reviewed these and I missed them. Suzy, they sound good.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'll check them out and probably we'll add them to the schedule. But for next week,
what do we got?
We're going into the gun-toting deep south of Texas with the new series, The Hunting Wives on Stan, in which everyone seems to be a secret bisexual going to swingers parties on Saturday and off to church Sunday morning. Check out The Hunting Wives and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Suzy. So today we were talking about Kit, which you can catch on YouTube. If you missed any part of this conversation, you'll be able to catch it later on the Joy Drive podcast.